I am 28 years old and I start crying really easily. It's embarrassing and frustrating at the same time. I cry when I have arguments with relatives or when watching anything emotional. I just can't hold it. Regarding my background, I come from a conservative family in a developing country. I had a really difficult childhood, was bullied in school and in the place where we used to live. On top of that, my mother has had paranoid schizophrenia since I was 10 years old. I have witnessed many domestic fights between my parents because of her health condition and was beaten by her almost every week. This led me to cry in any kind of emotional crisis. My father was not always available because he was working in another city. He would visit us bi-weekly, and they would always have quarrels. This was so stressful for me that I started getting gray hair at the age of 16. In the past few years, when I became independent, I was able to facilitate her treatment. She has recovered really well, and my parents are living together now without any issues. But I feel weak and emotionally helpless in situations. I have become physically obese and emotionally not strong. I've been going through therapy for a year, but it is not helping with the crying issue. Thank you in advance. Edit. Some words. Edit. You all are really wonderful people. Made me teary-eyed. I will read all the responses. I will continue therapy. I do meditation now and then, but will try to make it a habit. I've also started going to the gym since last year, but because of the pandemic, I haven't done anything physical in the past few months. Story 1. The technique I use to prevent myself from crying is to focus on my breathing. Repeatedly counting to 5 internally on inhale and again on exhale is calming in addition to being a good distraction. It is very useful when you are in a public place or a tense situation where you do not want to show emotion. That being said, I do recommend crying when you are in close company or private. Better to let it out. Story 2. I had some emotional trauma 1.5 years ago, and ever since, I cry very easily. Like in movies, in arguments, or just spontaneously. It's a part of me now that I have come to accept. To get better and less thin-skinned, I am doing meditation. Story 3. There are actual physical things that you can do to avoid crying. You can search for them online, but generally, if you are not in a super important meeting and feel like you are about to have a meltdown, just let it happen. I got used to just holding it in, and now my body refuses to let me cry. It's a pretty weird feeling and makes you feel broken inside. Story 4. I don't know, it's very rare that I cry, but when I feel the lump in my chest, I just hold it in, think about stuff that makes me strong and happy, and that helps. Confession. I used to picture myself as the Hulk, strong and my shield against pain. Though I must say crying and showing emotions are stronger than that. My tip is to give yourself a break. You are who you are. Don't break yourself down. You are doing the best you can. Story 5. It sounds like your upbringing never gave you a safe, stable environment from which to develop a healthy mental state. You have to let go of your past and realize you are no longer a helpless child at the mercy of a sick mother and absent father. You are your own man now. Create the environment you were denied as a child and own it. Once you successfully change your self-image and world image, your reactions to external stimuli will change too. Story 6. As a 28-year-old man myself, I cry all the time. I cry when super happy things happen in movies or television. I cry when something makes me extra happy, including watching other people be happy or get something they really want. I cry when my wife and I are playing around, and when she is extra super cute. I cry on airplanes because of how amazing I think planes are. I absolutely cry when thinking of the past and things that have happened, and definitely cry when I feel sad in general. I literally cry all the time, and it is nothing to be ashamed of. I found it easiest to just let it happen every once in a while. Sometimes I just let it happen and I feel great afterwards. Oh, and math. Math makes me cry. I'm in intermediate algebra and the teaching platform allows multiple attempts and shows examples, and I can do like 6 of them and still not get it. It's very frustrating. Anyway, I hope you find it for yourself that it's okay to cry and show emotion. Don't ever be afraid to be your true self. And one day, it will circle back to you being the best version of yourself. You're worth it and deserve to feel open. Best wishes. Story 7. Hey, I hope you're okay. Thankfully, these days a sensitive man or a man being in touch with his emotions isn't seen as an innate weakness by everyone, and those who think it is perhaps aren't the best of friends. What I am trying to say is your emotions are part of you. So don't try to hide them, own them. And also, you have been in the position of helping your loved ones with their mental health issues. Don't forget to get help for yourself as well. All the best, mate. Story 8. Your vulnerability is a strength. Utilize this to forge relationships or even create art. Took me a long while to realize everyone is soft. People appreciate those who are willing to show their true colors. Story 9. You mentioned that you are obese. Obesity increases the amount of estrogen in your blood, which can lead to more emotional swings and crying more easily. There are many good techniques mentioned by others, but high estrogen is something I've personally experienced, and crying at the drop of a hat is not uncommon. Story 10. Break down the things that cause the crying into manageable parts and confront them voluntarily. If arguments are a part of it, then debate a contentious subject with someone you trust not to take it personally. If domestic quarreling causes it, then try to sit through a few recordings of fights between people, maybe from YouTube or a film or TV show. You are feeling uncomfortable with a situation because you don't know how to deal with it, and it's manifesting itself in your crying. Become comfortable with these situations. Find ways to develop familiarity with these situations. Understand why these situations happen, and what can be done to mediate. Once you know how to deal with them, and you are comfortable with them, the crying will go away. Story 11. Man, I'm almost jealous. I'm 29 and wish I could still cry. My mental state has been in a slow decline over these last few months with everything going on in the United States, and I'm just trying to ride it out until I hopefully get accepted by another country's immigration and get to begin my language studies and can escape. When I get emotional, 99.9% of the time, the only thing that I get is a single tear, and it just frustrates the hell out of me. I want to be able to let go of everything that I've got built up, but something won't let me. Story 12. I cry very rarely nowadays and usually only under extreme stress, rarely from grief, but if I do, there is not really a way to hold it back. Some people tend to cry less, some more. There is absolutely nothing wrong with either and no need to hold it if you feel like you need to cry right now. I don't know any studies, but whenever it happens to me, I find it to be relieving, and I usually feel better afterward. Judging from what you write about your past, your childhood was worse by magnitudes than mine, and I can't really imagine the damage it left you with, but I don't believe that crying less is necessary or will help you get better, since I guess it's only a symptom of your actual mental problems. Stay strong, mate. I wish you all the best. Story 13. I'm going to start by saying it's okay for men to cry. I do understand why you would want a trick to avoid it, though. I'm someone who cries in confrontations or when I have to have difficult conversations. It's incredibly annoying. My trick is to start rhyming in your head when you feel tears. It distracts you and makes you focus on something else. It's worked for me plenty of times when I am about to cry in a professional setting. Story 14. I'm no expert, and I understand it's embarrassing for you and perhaps embarrassing in your culture. However, before anyone gets past any stigma of crying, maybe you have to get past that stigma yourself, you know? Come to terms with the fact that it's okay to cry when you have to. You've faced some difficult circumstances, and that affects the way your brain develops. At the end of the day, no one has to deal with your thoughts and emotions except for you. So you have to do what you have to do to make sure that you're okay. Story 15. Another way that has been helpful to me is to make sure I do cry in private every now and then. It helps prevent stress from building up to when I don't want to cry, like at work. Also, acknowledging that I'm upset for some reason helps me to stop crying. But that may be due to the fact that my dad would yell at me for crying. I know you feel weak to have this issue, but it may be better to reframe it as part of your personality. Some people are just criers. Fighting against it makes it worse. But I understand why you hate crying, since as a man it means people will think of you as weak. Story 16. I think I learned to isolate myself from emotions at a young age because my mom is overly emotional, and I'd feel her emotions too intensely as a child. Add in some serious trauma in my adult life that led me to build walls to protect myself. And now I can't feel much of anything. Even if I want to, I can't feel emotions. This problem makes me good at my job, but it's holding me back from experiencing the fullness of life. Guess it's the opposite problem to the original poster. Not sure the grass is greener over here. Story 17. Crying isn't a bad thing, and I wouldn't stop myself from doing it. It does sound like you've got a lot of pent-up anxiety and stress, though. It's good that you're getting therapy. It's definitely not a sign of weakness to have emotional reactions. I'd say that if you've gone through what you have and are now helping your parents, you're a lot stronger than most. Story 18. Crying is not a sign of being weak. It's a sign of having been strong for so long. Do not try to hold in crying. Let it out. You need to go to therapy and work things out. You need to talk to them and you need kindness. You are crying because all the little things have been built up inside you for so long. It's okay to cry. It's okay to have emotions. Do not be ashamed. It's going to be okay. Story 19. Focused deep breathing usually works, but it's hard to do that if you're in an argument. Nothing wrong with crying, though. For me, it's nice to know some things still manage to pull emotional strings. Story 20. I kind of had the same problem and felt the same way. My solutions? I got tired of it and wanted it to change. That's really the first step for anything. Anger, yes, anger. I'm always angry, but I can control it and not be a jerk. So, when in an argument or a fight, I turn on the valve and let a little bit of anger come out. When I want, I can release an unnecessarily large load of pure hate. So, the solution is to become a Sith Lord. Story 21. Bite the tip of your tongue, obviously lightly, but it should stop tears. Try to focus on something else. Then cry in the comfort of your own home, and there is nothing wrong with crying. Actually, a girl on this page, hope you all don't mind. Story 22. I come from a conservative family in a third world country. I had a really difficult childhood, was bullied in school and where we used to live. Yes, same here. Most probably you have childhood emotional neglect, same as me. I would suggest you get into spirituality, and I don't mean religious stuff. It's about opening your mind and connecting with your subconscious mind through meditation and breathing exercises. This is not easy and takes months to feel the results, but it really works. Researching this yourself is better than a random person explaining it to you, so look these up yourself over the weekend. Look up Inner Child Healing, whose main focus is to control emotions and heal all the negative influences and experiences that one has had in their past. You could also read about the law of attraction, but it takes some time to digest that it's real. Working out is a must as physical and mental health go hand in hand, so never stop lifting weights and running. Read some books on controlling negative thoughts, and message me if you need any ebook. I have loads of them on self-improvement. That's it. That's all I can say, as that's what I have been doing. Good luck. Story 23. Brother, never be ashamed of your feelings or to cry. Life is hard, and it won't become easier unless we work towards it. I feel you, mate. My parents also weren't the nicest people. I got beaten up for basically everything that my parents said yes to, and I was a pretty open-minded child and did what I wanted because of it. I just knew it would happen again as soon as I came home. I often wanted to cry and was at rock bottom, but just couldn't do it because I was told that real men don't cry, and that's nonsense. Now, I turned 30 last year and realized that it is completely okay to let yourself go and let everything out that bothers you. It's a way to deal with everything hitting you, and in my case, it even helped me a lot coming through a hard time. Never be ashamed of who you are, and don't hold yourself back. Use it to find what stresses you out the most and try to change things step by step. You are in no hurry. Life isn't that short, and maybe you won't even need to hold it back anymore. Be strong and be safe, brother. Story 24. I have social anxiety and I can't fight in arguments without getting hyper and almost breaking out crying. But I try to turn off emotions and overthink things from everyone's perspective. Story 25. I don't think you should. It's your nature, and as long as crying doesn't affect your reasoning while discussing something, then you are all good. Coming from a girl who's lurking in here. Story 26. I have found a lot of progress with scheduling my feelings. I know that sounds weird. I refused to deal with stuff from my past for so long that any time something reminded me of my past hardships, my eyes would well up with tears. Now, in addition to starting therapy, I write in a journal, and I do a video diary when I don't feel like writing. I find having the feelings out and in a physical form allows me to deal with my emotions better. In my opinion, it's because I can either read the words or watch the video and have compassion for myself, knowing that my feelings are justified and real. I also find that getting things out helps me focus on what parts bother me most. This is good because I am learning about myself and what I really care about. It's also good because I can finally start to let go of bad feelings toward family members, as I can engage with them in the moment instead of ignoring how they are now and focusing on the past. I hope this is helpful for you. For reference, I'm a 24-year-old girl. I have cried more in the past month than in the past 3 years, but I do it on my time, and I'm able to enjoy my time outside of feeling my emotions. Story 27. Please don't suppress it. I'm saying this as a 23-year-old who can't cry because I've always held it all in, and now it's a habit. I can't mourn easily, and I haven't cried in over 12 years, even if I try. If you want to control it, remember to disconnect yourself from what's happening. Focus on breathing. But what works best always is a little pain. Press your nail over some part of your hand. Shift your body's response to another body part. That's what I did as a kid, but yeah, it's definitely led me to be a more damaged adult. I always tell my fellow men to not hold back tears, that it's okay to cry, and let go. We are raised to hold it in, and it is not healthy. This is what causes cancer, is what people believe. Story 28. I want to echo a lot of the other comments here and say that it is okay to cry. I am a 29-year-old man, and I cry at cartoons, really beautiful songs, and particularly when I get into arguments with family or friends. Crying literally releases hormones that help you feel better and heal. That being said, I also like to not cry at times. My method is what others have said. Take a couple of seconds to focus on breathing, reflect, and repeat as needed. Not only does this typically help me regain control of my body and emotions, but it also comes across as being reflective and mindful because it is. Taking the time I need is not a weakness. This is a sign of true strength that should be valued and respected. Lastly, I wanted to take a second to recognize your background. I am sorry that you had to, and continue to, struggle with a difficult past. I want to let you know that being okay to cry is not a reflection of your past or you as a person that has survived these struggles. You are allowed to cry because of, but also regardless of, your background. Your emotions are valid.